Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. I hope you're doing well today and I hope you're ready for a new project. So I have something really interesting today and I'm super excited to show it to you. So I prepared this really amazing pattern that's pretty and light. So for this I used a particular type of wool, but you can choose pretty much whatever you like. So I have Woolly Hugs Bobbel socks and we used 2 spools. So you could also use one, but I wanted to make it extra big, so you'll see in a moment what I did. So anyway, we have this pretty black and white gradient all over it, so meant for socks actually, but that's just a recommendation, so we are free to do something else as well. And here you can see 75% wool and 25% polyamide, 100 grams per 400 meters, and the color is 254 if you want to find it. So this particular one, the needle size is 2.5 to 3 millimeters, and I will follow that with my 3 millimeter needle. Bigger works as well, so feel free to use whatever you like if you have more experience. If not, it's maybe best if you follow my lead. So let me show you the scarf. A very nice result in the end we get. So we get a light gray, a bit darker gray, and all the way to black. So this is 135 centimeters long, so it's pretty big, but you can of course adjust that, and it's 42 centimeters wide. So we will be doing it from the shorter side, so to say. So we will start right away. So if you do this with 3 spools, which you can do, in my case I use 3, so that's 300 grams, you will get a length of 2 meters. So let's get started. So let's start with 101 chains. You need 10 plus 1 chain depending on the length you want to do. So it can be 50 plus 1 or 160 plus 1, as long as it's a round number, and the plus 1 you'll see why we actually do that. So feel free to do bigger pieces or smaller pieces at first if you're not feeling very secure. But anyway, this is not a difficult pattern, although it looks really complicated. So I have here 3, and let's do the rest. So 101 chains later, we have a nice length. So we will go back now in single crochets to get a nice basis, and for that we will leave the first chain out and go into the second from the back. So we can start the pattern now after our singles row, and we will start with 4 chains for the height, and then we'll turn it around. And we will do a treble into the first single from the last row. Leave 1, 2, 3, 4 singles out and go into the 5th one and do 7 trebles. So we need a nice bow shape in the end. So don't worry, it's definitely gonna fit, and then leave again 4 out and do a V. So we will do that by doing just a regular treble. 2 chains for the height, and then into the same spot another treble. Here we are, trebles and chains. Now again leave 4 out and do 7 trebles into the 5th single. So I will finish the whole thing in the same manner. Here we are now, so the pattern is already showing, looks awesome, and the cool thing is that you can clearly see the 4 skipped chains we did. So anyway, I will finish it up, and this is our first row, so the pattern consists of basically the 2 rows, and they keep changing between one another. So I will show you how to do the row beginning because it's a bit different, but before that I will finish this one. We are almost done with our first pattern now, so I wanted to show you how you can finish this. So leave 4 out and do another V into the last chain or single from our bases now. Here we are. So the 7 trebles with the V's in between. Let's do the 3rd row, so the 2nd pattern row, and these keep changing, so you will see. So now 4 chains for the height and turn, and then we will go into this spot right here. And we will do 2 trebles that I will put together. Let me show you. So I'm not finishing the treble here, but starting a 2nd one. And now I will finish it. So that way we get 2 trebles like this, and then we need 3 chains. And a single crochet into the middle chain of the last row, so the 4th one out of the 7. Again 3 chains, and we are again at the V, so now we again do 2 trebles together. Three chains and then again 2 trebles together. So we have this bow part again in the middle, and then we will get back to our 7 treble part where we do 3, then a single, and then again 3 chains for the height until we get to the V, and then just keep repeating that. So here we are basically going around the V's from the last row and around these 7 treble structures. And I will finish this row too. So here I am again, and we can see here the beginning of the last row, so the 4 chains and the 1 treble we did, and here the last 3 chains. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish by doing these or those double trebles we did a minute ago. So afterwards we have just 1 chain and 1 treble, and that's basically the end of our row. So normally I wouldn't do this, but I want to end this row nicely, so I'm stopping, let's say halfway through, so that it's not crooked in the end and I have a straight line. So you can see our pattern now, the little shell-shaped 7 trebles we did, and yeah, in between those shells we always have the V's and the next row that builds a nice frame for the shells. So we will now keep doing the same thing, but with a twist, so don't panic, it's really easy. So what we have here, or yeah, what we're basically gonna do is the same thing a bit differently. So we have here in the next row, we will do 7 trebles again, but we want them in between our V's, so that they're kind of in between the 2 shells we did in the last row. So that basically means somewhere around this area, and yeah, in the middle. So that way we get a nice even pattern that keeps changing the position of the shells. So yeah, it should be pretty symmetrical and pretty nice, and I will show you 2 more rows so that you can see that too, but you pretty much already know what to do and how to do it. So yeah, there's nothing new I can show you from this point on. This is basically the pattern that we're doing today. So always take care of the beginning and the end so that those look nice too. But apart from that, as you can see, it's super simple to do. So let's do 3 chains, because here we should be having a shell, but we will do half to keep the edge nice and straight. Now again the V's the same way as before. And now in between the last two shells we are doing a new one, so this time the whole thing. So we can now finish it the same way as you can see it's super easy, so always take care that your shells are in between one another, and apart from that pretty much everything stays the same, so there's no big difference now. And here the V's go in between the shells, so take care of the order and you will basically be just fine. The pattern is really easy once you get the hang of it. Here we are, the last spot we did, and we can now do the half shell thing. So watch how I do it and you can then repeat. So they always end and begin the same way, so the double treble with 3 chains, or you can do regular trebles. And here we did some chains and the 4 trebles or 3 trebles by doing these half shells. So it always adds up to 7 in this case. So now we can do the next row with the shells and the V's in between the chains. And I promise the only thing that's gonna be new is the beginning, and from there on it's pretty much all the same. So just make sure if you actually start right, there shouldn't be any other difficulties throughout the whole thing. So let's start with a chain. Here I am, where I would directly do the single, and that's what I'm gonna do. Then 3 chains and go into the next V and repeat. Same thing as here. So we will continue the same way, and all you have to take care about is which row you are doing. So just make sure you don't mix those up. So I did the pattern one more row, and you can even see the color change a bit now. So I'm at the end of the row and I just gotta finish it really quick. So here is the spot. I'm going through the chains I did in the previous row, and we will just do one single in here and we are all done. So I now did the whole pattern, and the whole deal with this is that we have 2 rows that keep changing one after another. But I would like to say that the very first row that we actually did, so the one you can see right over here is in singles, so it doesn't really count to the pattern. But from the second row, or the first row that is part of the pattern, we have the same thing happening with these shells and these V's, and you can always see the repeating pattern, so it's nothing new from here on. So we will continue this way, and this time we need to align the pattern. So yeah, align the pattern with this row we have right over here. Between these two we will get this bow or shells, so it's always one row in between. So first and third and second and fourth and so on. It's always odd and even. So the beginnings are a bit different, but you'll get a hang of it. So each second is the same, or each odd with each next odd, and the same goes for the even rows. So here's a shell and single above it forming the V, and then another shell, and that way we just keep building new rows on top of it. So here is our scarf. You can see the shells now with the V's when they are forming a bigger piece like now, and they show the color changes very nicely. So it goes from black all to these different kinds of gray shades, and back to black in the end right here. And the awesome thing is that we did it in rows, so there is no difference throughout the whole scarf, which makes it beautifully symmetrical. So let me show you one more thing. So here is our end row. I did one more row with just regular singles so that it looks nice at the end. So you can see it's not in the pattern style anymore, but a simple row, basically to frame these V's nicely into their shape. So that was my idea, or the way I started it. I wanted to end it the same way. It's not a must, but I just think it kind of makes it look nicer. So yeah, that is how we get such a lovely end row. And I hope you guys enjoyed this project. If you did, feel free to let me know in the comment section what you think. You can also post any suggestions or questions or wishes you might have for future projects. Apart from that, you can always subscribe to the channel. You can shoot a thumbs up. You can share it with your friends, so everything's open and welcome. Apart from that, thanks for watching DIY Ideas. I'll see you in our next video, and until then, have a wonderful day and a lot of fun. Bye!